Good evening. This is the news tonight, your daily roundup of all that has happened across India and the world. I'm Ishan Russell, and tonight our focus is on the markets and the government's divestment plans, and we'll be discussing that with a special guest a little later. But first, the headlines. Former Union Minister Jayanti Natarajan quits Congress, accuses Rahul Gandhi of interference in her ministerial tenure. Congress rejects the charge. Government revises growth rate from 4.7% to 6.9%. Change comes after modifying base year to 2011 and 12 from 2004 to 5. Coal India Limited shares fall around 3% after government sells stake, aiming to earn over 22,000 crore rupees. Sensex falls over 400 points after hitting record high. Nifty below 8,850. PSU banks plunged over 5% after Bank of Baroda reports 69% fall in quarterly profit. And in the Australian Open, mixed doubles to feature only one Indian, Leander Paes, in the final match. Djokovic in the men's final though. Our top story tonight, former Environment Minister in the UPA government, Jayanti Natarajan, resigned from the Congress party after an explosive press conference today. In a scathing attack, she accused party Vice President Rahul Gandhi of interfering in ministerial work. However, she chose to remain tight-lipped about her future plans as of now.
Today I announced my resignation as a primary member of the Congress. I received another phone call from Shri Ajay Makan that I'm sorry, tomorrow the new list of spokespersons are coming and you are being removed from the panel, which was again a shock to me.
Another prominent face in Congress has quit the party after questioning the top leadership. Jayanti Natarajan, the former Environment Minister, virtually opened a can of worms at a press conference on Friday, accusing the party Vice President Rahul Gandhi's office of planting stories to sully her reputation. She claimed Rahul Gandhi had interfered in the decision-making process. Natarajan said despite repeated requests, she was not given a hearing by the central leadership.
I received several instructions from the office of Vice President Shri Rahul Gandhi, forwarding requests, forwarding representations from NGOs who complained about environmental deterioration due to some large projects. If anybody is able to show that I have done anything wrong, I am willing to be hanged. I am willing to go to jail.
She also revealed how she was forced to speak out against Narendra Modi on the Snoopgate controversy.
I was asked to launch an attack on Shri Narendra Modi, who was then the Prime Ministerial candidate of the BJP, on Snoopgate. Shri Ajay Makan said that this was a view taken at the highest level.
Natarajan's explosive press conference has once again raised questions on Congress leadership's handling of dissidents within. Recently, another former UPA minister, Krishna Tirath, also joined BJP. However, Natarajan rejected any possibility of her joining the Saffron party yet. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, Congress leaders condemned Jayanti Natarajan's remarks against the party leadership in her resignation. The BJP, on the other hand, supported her allegations, stating that they confirmed that Congress leaders interfered with the government's work during the UPA regime.
Stunned by yet another desertion of a former minister, the Congress came out in full force to hit back at Jayanti Natarajan's charges. Party leaders, including Natarajan's predecessor Jairam Ramesh, rallied behind Rahul Gandhi to call her allegations completely baseless.
This allegation is just to thinking that she can also put a stone against the Congress party. Then she seek an opportunist. That is opportunism. She has never been consistently with the Congress party.
This is totally a baseless allegation. Somebody, for some personal reasons, if they want to resign from the party, they are free to do so. But making such wild allegation is very unfair.
The ruling BJP hit out at the Congress, stating that Natarajan's letter spoke volumes about the interference the government faced.
Today's letter conclusively establishes that it was not the statutory considerations, the mandatory considerations, which weighed with the ruling party and the government, but what weighed with them was the whims of political leaders of the party as to who is to be granted an environmental permission and who is not to be granted an environmental permission.
जो प्रश्न वो उठा रही है, मुझे लगता है कांग्रेस पार्टी को इस पर सफाई देना चाहिए और देश की जनता से और प्रधानमंत्री जी से माफी मांगनी चाहिए.
My impression is internal Congress squabbles, internal differences, internal views are, getting exaggerated and it is coming to the open. Congress is in a very state of crisis.
Some of the opposition parties questioned Natarajan's silence all this while others said that her letter completely exposed the UPA.
तो समय था जब बोलती, ये अजीब देश है कि जब सत्ता भोगना तब चुप रहो और सत्ता से बाहर आ जाओ तो फिर बाद में बोलो.
The real news is that we get a glimpse of what was really happening in the UPA regime. We get to know the truth about the so-called non-interference of the first family during the UPA regime.
In the wake of Natarajan's resignation, Arun Jaitley also sought a review of environmental projects that were granted clearance or rejected permission during the UPA regime. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Right, our focus story now. Government's public offer of 10% stake in Coal India got oversubscribed by the end of today's trade. In fact, it is set to add over 22,600 crore rupees to the exchequer in India's biggest ever stake sale. Now, the sale moves the government closer to the $10 billion target, which it needs to trim the fiscal deficit to a 7-year low by the end of March.
In the biggest ever share sale by any private or public sector company, Coal India offer for sale was oversubscribed on Friday. The offer comprised a divestment of 5% stake with a green shoe option of an additional 5%. The green shoe option endows the issuer with an option of selling additional stake in case there is enough demand.
We cannot go more than 10% of the equity in any case because 10% is the cabinet approval. We had said that in this issue we will do 5% and with the option of retaining surplus. So that option has yet to be exercised. That will be exercised as soon as we get the proposal from the stock exchanges and scrutinize it.
The floor price was fixed at Rs 358 per share. The government proposed to offload around 63 crore shares. However, investors bid for a total of 66 crore shares. The retail portion was undersubscribed as investors bid for only 5.36 crore out of 12.63 crore shares on offer for retail investors. The sale saw Coal India shares go down by 3.8% during trade on Friday.
The base issue got subscribed, lapped up by the institutional investor by 3 o'clock. I think investor interest was in the Coal India was primarily because of it is a part of the Nifty and because huge money is coming into India through ETF channel only.
The share sale would help the government meet more than half of the divestment target of Rs 43,425 crore in the current fiscal. Coal India was the second PSU to hit the market under the government's divestment program in the current fiscal, the first being sale in which shares worth about 1,700 crore were sold. The strong response to the Coal India offer will significantly boost the government's plan to offload shares in other state firms, including Oil and Natural Gas Corporation.
This sets a new benchmark for perhaps a more ambitious disinvestment target for the next year, because the way Sensex is setting new record heights every day, perhaps 30,000 will be the floor for next year.
Opposing the government's stake sale, the trade unions today have warned of a possible strike. Coal India held strike earlier this year against government's move to privatize mining in the sector. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
And let's get you in on the stock market action as well. Sensex declined nearly 611 points in intraday trade today as banking stocks came under sharp selling pressure. Now, the 30-share Sensex ended close 500 points down in its worst drop in the last 3 weeks at 29,182. The Nifty also snapped its 10-day rally that barred it to several record highs in the last few days. It fell close to 150 points to end the day at 8,808 points. Heavy selling pressure was reportedly observed in banking, consumer durables, automobile, capital goods, metal and healthcare stocks, while healthy buying took place in realty, information technology and power sectors. We have Mr. Yatish Rajawat, former group editor, Dainik Bhaskar, joining us to help us understand the importance of what happened today with Coal India, because this really, what does it augur for the government's divestment plans, first of all, Mr. Rajawat?
I mean, it clearly shows that there's a huge investor appetite for government equity, and this is the largest capital issue from any private and public sector. The only concern here was that the retail portion was not fully subscribed, which shows that either it was a single day sale, maybe if it was a 2-day sale or 3-day sale, the retail investor would have come in a much stronger force. But it heralds, typically the market works in a herd mentality, and a large issue like this gives confidence to both companies and investment bankers to bring more public issue into the market. So I'm sure that the government will now be thinking that can they push in another issue between now and the budget.
Alright, so that is what you're saying, whether the government's now deciding whether it does have it, and the market indication certainly seems so that it can, but as a story also suggested, it's not all that easy. I mean, the unions are up in arms. We had a strike recently and they're threatening to go on strike again. So as far as the government's divestment plans are concerned, do you think they're on track as far as the budget is concerned, and do you think they'll be able to meet the targets, especially the fiscal deficit?
So two questions here. One is the divestment target, which is around 40,000 odd crores, and there is a fiscal deficit target. As you know, that divestment target can be met if the government does another issue between now and February 28th, which is very possible. On the fiscal deficit target, I think now seems more achievable, especially with the oil price fall. As you know that we still have subsidy on kerosene, LPG, so that subsidy has come down substantially, and a part of the oil fall has not been passed on to the consumer. It has been kept back by the government in the form of excise duty. So that is inflow to the government. So I think now the numbers have to be worked out again here. But I think now the fiscal deficit target seems more achievable.
Alright, but as far as the divestment plans are concerned, do you think there could be other government undertakings that we could see going down the divestment route? And I asked you this before also, as far as the opposition to this is concerned, it's coming from the unions right now, but could this become a political issue that the government could have a tough time with?
So the two different issues. The unions have traditionally, as a political issue, opposed the divestment programs. That does not mean that they are shareholders or equity holders in these companies. The government has the right to divest when it wants and where it wants. These divestment targets and these companies have been approved by the cabinet. So I don't see this opposition going anywhere beyond a voice being raised there. So, your second question was that would they be able to do another issue? Maybe they would look at ONGC now, for which they also have a clearance from the cabinet to divest another 5% there.
Alright, so Mr. Rajawat, we'll leave it over there, but thank you very much for coming in and helping our viewers understand, and me understand, what's been really happening as far as the government's divestment plans are concerned, and of course the Coal India share issue. Thanks so much. And it's good news for the government, because India has revised its economic growth to 6.9% from 4.7% in the fiscal year to March 2014 today. Now, the figure comes after the government changed the formula to measure the economy, though, changing the base year from 2011-12 to 2004-5. The move is aimed to make it easier for the government to meet fiscal deficit goals. The new measurement of GDP includes underrepresented and informal economic sectors, as well as items such as smartphones and LED television sets. Apart from the surge in economic growth, the government also revised its GDP for 2012-2013 to 5.1% from 4.5% earlier.
I will advise users when they are using this data and comparing it with earlier time series to maintain a measure of caution and recognize that the 2011-12 base series will reflect in many ways a structural break from the earlier series.
We are using better data. So the accuracy of the estimates will be much better than it was earlier.
Alright, we'll slip into a very quick break, but before we go, we'll leave you with visuals from Rajghat from today, where President Pranab Mukherjee and Prime Minister Narendra Modi were among several leaders to pay homage to Mahatma Gandhi on his 67th death anniversary today.
Years after the Mahatma's assassination, attempts to revive memories of the man who killed him. How will it affect Gandhi's legacy? Watch the big picture at 9:30 p.m. only on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back. You're watching the news tonight. Now let's switch focus to Delhi elections, where the poll rhetoric continues to fly as the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party leaders treated charges during their rallies in the national capital today. While the Aam Aadmi Party criticized the BJP over an ad mocking its chief Arvind Kejriwal, BJP placed 5 more questions to the former chief minister in its aggressive ploy to target AAP. Meanwhile, the BJP issued a letter to all party men in an effort to curb infighting over its chief minister choice, Kiran Bedi.
Campaigning has picked up in Delhi in the last leg with barely a week to go for the assembly elections. BJP's choice for the CM's post, Kiran Bedi, held a rally in Jagatpur constituency on Friday, while party chief Amit Shah also addressed multiple rallies. BJP targeted Aam Aadmi Party and Congress in its rallies, especially targeting former Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal.
केजरीवाल जी जो आप पार्टी के नेता है, जब अंदर आंदोलन में जुड़े तब उन्होंने कहा था या नहीं कहा था कि मैं कभी चुनाव नहीं लड़ूंगा। चुनाव लड़े या नहीं लड़े? चुनाव लड़ने के वक्त उन्होंने कहा था या नहीं कहा था कि हम कभी कांग्रेस का समर्थन नहीं लेंगे? कहा था, लिया या नहीं लिया?
The party also placed more questions to Kejriwal in its efforts to campaign aggressively against Aam Aadmi Party. However, Aam Aadmi Party questioned why BJP CM candidate Kiran Bedi is not keen to join an open debate with Kejriwal before the polls. The party also demanded an apology from BJP over its advertisement that mocks Kejriwal and Anna Hazare.
BJP never runs away from debates, but the DNA of Aam Aadmi Party is not to have debates. The DNA of Aam Aadmi Party is to spit and run. The DNA of Aam Aadmi Party is to scoot after making some kind of a shooting.
उनके पास कोई एजेंडा नहीं बचा है, उनके पास कोई विजन नहीं है, कोई एजेंडा नहीं है, मैनिफेस्टो तक नहीं बना पा रहे बीजेपी वाले। वो जब ये चुनाव के पहले ही नहीं बता पा रहे कि दिल्ली के लिए वो क्या कर सकते हैं, वो सरकार क्या चलाएंगे।
Meanwhile, BJP tried to end infighting within the party over its choice to project Kiran Bedi as the CM face. The decision had caused quite a flutter in the party ranks in Delhi, raising questions whether it lacked leaders to lead the party into the elections. BJP State Chief Satish Upadhyay issued a letter urging all party men to forget differences and work to ensure a win for the party. With inputs from Anu Diwan, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The presiding officers and secretaries of legislative bodies met in Lucknow today to discuss ways to make their functioning more effective. At the 55th Conference of Secretaries, participants resolved to make full use of the communication technology revolution to strengthen legislatures. Shamsher Sharif, the Secretary General of the Rajya Sabha, was the keynote speaker at the conference that was inaugurated by the Lok Sabha Secretary General Anup Mishra. Senior officers of various legislative councils and legislative assemblies took part in the discussions.
हमारे यहाँ जो युवा पीढ़ी है, जैसे मैंने कहा 350 मिलियन से ज़्यादा है, उनकी क्या ख्वाहिश है, क्या रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़ हैं, क्या राइट्स हैं, वो सब वो जो है आजकल बड़े उत्सुक तरीके से वो जानना चाह रहे हैं कि उनके जो रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स हैं वो कैसे काम करें. तो हमारे ऊपर सचिवालयों के ऊपर ख़ास तौर पे ये बहुत जिम्मेदारी बनती है कि हम लोग अपने प्रोसीजर्स, अपने जो सेक्रेटेरिएट्स को उस रफ्तार से उतना ही तेज़ रखें जिससे लोगों की डिज़ायर्स हैं.
We should not exhibit placards, shout slogans and resort to hooting in the house. We set a role model for others. So I urge upon members to follow rules and observe norms to facilitate smooth conduct of the business in the house.
Now, in yet another ceasefire violation, Pakistan Rangers last night resorted to small arms firing on border outposts along the international border in Jammu. The BSF retaliated to the intermittent exchange.
Pakistani troops stepped up ceasefire violations on Thursday to help infiltration of terrorists on the border. The BSF retaliated strongly.
कल रात को भी इंसिडेंट्स हुए हैं शेलिंग के, बहुत वाइड स्प्रेड नहीं है फिर भी, और मुझे लगता है ज़्यादातर इन्फिल्ट्रेशन बिड को कवर करने के लिए की जा रही है. रोज ही हम लोग देख रहे हैं, लोग आते हैं HSTI में दिखाई देते हैं और उनको रिपल्स करने की कोशिश की जाती है. इन्फिल्ट्रेशन कोई सक्सेसफुल अभी तक तो नहीं हुआ है.
3 villagers were injured in the shelling in Arnia sector. They were taken to a government hospital where one of them is critical. Residents said they face difficulty in rescuing the wounded amid a barrage of bullets.
बड़ी बुरी हालत है, तो इतनी फायरिंग हो रही है कि हद से ज्यादा भी तक बाहर फायरिंग हो रही है. हमने जैसे उठाया इनको, दुकान खोली, दुकान के अंदर इनको ले गए, फिर वहां पे 15-20 मिनट रख के बाद फिर जल्दी हमने इधर पहुंचाया, बड़ी मुश्किल से सर.
The BSF said the situation was a little tense but under control and the army had effectively curtailed the infiltration attempts.
थोड़ी अनप्रेडिक्टेबिलिटी अभी बनी हुई है. कल रात भी इंसिडेंट में शेलिंग में एक फैमिली के 2-3 लोग इंजर्ड हो गए हैं और हमारी तरफ से पूरा अलर्ट है अभी.
Thursday's ceasefire violation was the 8th among the big skirmishes that have taken place this month. Even on 25th of January, ahead of US President Barack Obama's visit, Pakistani forces resorted to small arms firing at Jugnu Chak border outpost in Jammu. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Let's take a look at all the other national news and updates nationwide. Commanding officer of INS Sindhu Ratna, Sandeep Sinha, will face court-martial after being found guilty for the fire on board the submarine on the 26th of February last year. 6 other officers were also issued letters of severe displeasure, which will curtail their promotion, study courses or foreign postings for the next 2 years. The mishap had led to the resignation of then Navy Chief Admiral D.K. Joshi. Former Rail Minister Mukul Roy today appeared before a CBI team to face interrogation in connection with the Sarda scam. This is the Trinamool Congress leader's first questioning in the case after he was summoned by the CBI on the 12th of January. Mukul Roy has since pleaded extension to appear before the investigating agency. The Supreme Court has sentenced CPM leader from Kerala, M.V. Jayarajan, to 4 weeks in jail for derogatory remarks against a High Court judge. He was earlier sentenced to 6 months in jail in November 2011 by the High Court for contempt of court, but he moved Supreme Court against the order. The top court upheld the High Court sentence but reduced his punishment. Some international news now, and nearly 50 people have been killed in a powerful bomb blast at a Shia mosque in Pakistan's Shikarpur. Police have said that at least 50 people were wounded in the attack after Friday prayers. The death toll is expected to rise as many of the wounded are in critical condition. It's not yet clear who carried out the attack, but Sunni militant groups have targeted the Shia minority in the past. Local media reports suggest that the blast could have been a suicide attack, but police are investigating. Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, though, has condemned the incident and ordered an immediate inquiry. The crisis surrounding a Japanese and a Jordanian hostage continues as the deadline set for the prisoner swap passed on Thursday without any further reaction from either the Islamic State or Japan and Jordan. Now, families of the Japanese journalist and the Jordanian military pilot have pleaded for action from their respective governments.
The Thursday deadline for prisoners exchange passed off without any further development. Even as Japan continues with their efforts to secure the release of journalist Kenji Goto, his wife revealed that she had exchanged several mails with the Islamic State, with one appearing to contain their final demand.
I fear that this is the last chance for my husband, as we now have only a few hours left to secure his release and the life of Lieutenant Murat Al-Tafasir. I beg the Jordanian and Japanese government to understand that the fate of both men are in their hands.
Japan's efforts cut no ice with the Jordanian government, which is still adamant that it will release the female prisoner Sajida al-Rishawi in exchange for the pilot. The prisoner is still captive as Jordan is seeking proof of the pilot being alive.
後藤さんの解放を最優先、そういう中でですね、ヨルダン政府ともに協力を要請をしてまいりました。
We want to see a proof of life of the Jordanian pilot, and then we can talk about the exchange between Sajid al-Rishawi and the Jordanian pilot.
Meanwhile, the US said that it will leave negotiations to the Japanese government.
Counter violent extremism, Japan has played a critical role in the global coalition against ISIL, and Prime Minister Abe's trip to the Middle East in mid-January further advanced Japan's engagement on this issue, and needless to say, fighting the terror of ISIL is a top priority for all of us in the world.
The Islamic State had released an audio message on Saturday demanding the release of Sajida al-Rishawi in exchange for Kenji Goto. They even threatened to kill Goto if Al-Qaeda operator was not delivered at the Turkish border by sunset on Thursday. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, some sports now, and in tennis, world number 1 Novak Djokovic defeated defending champion Stan Wawrinka in a grueling encounter to reach the finals of the Australian Open. He'll face Britain's Andy Murray on Sunday. India's Leander Paes also reached his 31st Grand Slam final in the mixed doubles. However, Sania Mirza lost her semi-final encounter. Here's a look at today's results.
The previous two encounters between Novak Djokovic and Stan Wawrinka at Melbourne Park were 5-set epics. This one was no different. Top seed Djokovic won the tightly contested first set, but Wawrinka roared back to claim the second. Both players then won the next two sets alternately to take the match into the fifth and final set. However, it was the Serb who came out on top with a 6-0 drubbing in the final set. Djokovic won the grueling encounter 7-6, 3-6, 6-4, 4-6, 6-0. The 7-time Grand Slam winner will meet Andy Murray in Sunday's final.
Andy and I go back to when we were 12 years old. That's the first time when we played against each other, so there's only a week difference in age, and we know each other for a long time. We have a very friendly relationship both the court, and it's nice to see that we're playing another Grand Slam final against each other.
Leander Paes moved closer to his 15th Grand Slam title after a semi-final victory in the mixed doubles at the Melbourne Park. Paes and his Swiss partner Martina Hingis, who have a combined 28 Grand Slam titles to their name, defeated the unseeded pair of Su Weisier and Pablo Cuevas in straight sets. The 7th-seeded Indo-Swiss pair were broken early in the first set but broke back soon to take the set 7-5. In the second set, the pair broke again their opponent's serve and zoomed to a 3-1 lead. They then went on to hold their serves to record a comfortable 7-5, 6-4 victory. Paes and Hingis will face the French-Canadian pair of Kristina Mladenovic and Daniel Nestor in the finals. Mladenovic and Nestor overcame top seeds Sania Mirza and Bruno Soares. The Indo-Brazilian pair raced away to a 6-3 win in the first set. However, the third seeds made a ruthless comeback to back the second set to take the match to a tie-break. The Mirza-Soares pair squandered a 6-2 lead to lose the tie-break and the match. In the women's doubles final, unseeded Bethany Mattek-Sands and Lucy Safarova beat 14th seeds Chan Yung-jan and Zheng Zi to win the title. The American-Czech pair were playing together for the first time but did not have much trouble in winning the match 6-4, 7-6 in straight sets. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, that's the news tonight. Good night.